Madam President, in March of 1865, President Lincoln said this: "Let us strive on to finish the work, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan." Madam President, that's why we're here today. We're here today to continue the work, to finish the work, to honor the lives of those who have borne this nation's battles, who have rallied to this nation's flag in every hour of danger, the people who won World War II, who won the Cold War, who helped rebuild Europe and Japan and our allies, the people who have built this country and are now waiting for us to help them. That's what we're about today. There's a reason, Madam President, that we succeeded over the last half century. It's because the working people of this country in Missouri and in New Mexico and in Nevada and Colorado and Idaho and Texas and Wyoming and everywhere else from coast to coast, it's because the working people of this country went to the uranium mines for our nuclear program, went to the processing sites to make our weapons, volunteered for our Army, went overseas to fight, or just raised their families with dignity and honor. That's why we have a United States of America. That's why we are the United States of America. But we have not done right by those good people. We have turned our back on them because so many of them, Madam President, were poisoned by their own government, by nuclear waste and radiation, by nuclear tests that were done without their knowledge, by the nuclear material and the mines that they weren't told about. The government exposed them over a period of decades to nuclear radiation and waste, and in almost every case, did nothing about it. In many cases, lied to them about it. Well, this isn't right, Madam President. This isn't just. That's why we are here today. It's the pride of this nation that when we won the Second World War, when we won the Cold War, we rebuilt the lands of our former enemies. I'm proud of that as I ever have been. But now it is time to rebuild these communities. It is time to finish the work in the United States of America. It is time to turn to the men and women who have borne the brunt of the battle. The men and women who gave their health, and in many cases their lives, for their nation. That's what we're here for today on the floor. This isn't about a handout. This isn't about some kind of welfare program. This is about doing basic justice by the working people of this nation, whom their own government has poisoned. This is the day when we break the cycle of lies from the government, when we break the cycle of passing the buck and irresponsibility from the government, when we say to the people of America, we will honor you. When we say to the working people of this country, we are here for you. When we acknowledge to these Americans, you built this country, we will honor you. That's why we're here today. The Senate has a chance today to make right what has been wrong, to right 50 years of wrongs, 50 and 60 years of Americans ignored, exploited, and lied to. Today, we can begin to right those wrongs. That's why we're here, Madam President. I want to recognize now my friend, my colleague from the great state of Missouri, a man who grew up in the St. Louis region, right by one of these nuclear processing facilities and the landfill where the government dumped the waste and then lied about it. A man I'm proud to have in this fight, Senator Eric Schmitt. When I have come to this floor in weeks and months past to talk about this cause, because it's more than an issue, it is a cause. It's a cause of justice. It's a cause of doing right by our fellow Americans. When I've come in weeks past, I've often shown the pictures and told the stories of people who have given their health or given their lives for their country. Today, I don't have any pictures with me because today in the gallery, we have Missourians themselves and New Mexicans themselves and Arizonans themselves and members of the Navajo Nation themselves. They're here right now. They're sitting right there, traveling from great distances. And I just want to call out a few of their names. Mary Dixon's here from Utah. Sherry Hanna's here from Arizona. Laura Greenwood is here from Texas. Phil Harrison is here, and Leslie Begay, and Rose Harrison, and Tina Cordova, all from New Mexico. And Linda Perez has come all the way from Guam, all the way from Guam. Tona Henderson has come from Idaho, and Paula Terry also, and from the great state of Missouri. Don Chapman, who will be my guest tonight at the State of the Union, and Karen Nickel, and Ashley, and Kristen, and Chantel, and Tricia Burns are all here. And from the Navajo Nation, Justin and Kyle, and there are more in the gallery as well, Madam President. From all over this country, representing every segment of this country, representing the great heritage of this country, representing the great communities of this country. I think of the Navajo Nation. 50% of the uranium that was mined in this country for our nuclear program, half of it came from the Navajo Nation, the workers of the Navajo Nation, who, if I'm not mistaken, also volunteer for this nation's armed services at a percentage higher than any other community in America. These folks represent here today the best of our nation. They are America. They're here. They're here for us to honor them. You know, as Americans, we make a commitment to each other. It's what it means to be an American. We promise that we will live by the ideals that we hold together and by the things that we love together. And we promise to stand by one another. This is about standing by one another. This is about seeking that justice that President Lincoln spoke about so many marches ago. And now on this March Day in the year 2024, the United States Senate has the opportunity to do its part, its small part, to continue to make this nation what it could be, what we promised it will be, and to put right things that have been wrong. I'll end with this, Madam President. As we speak, the government is testing under the homes in St. Louis, under people's basements in St. Louis, for radioactive contamination. After saying for decades there was no contamination to be concerned about, there was nothing that we should worry about, now they're testing in our homes. They've already shut down schools. The water in the creeks is contaminated. The landfills are contaminated. The soil has been contaminated. Today we say enough. Today we turn the page. Today we begin something new. And so for those folks who are watching now from Missouri, whether from their living rooms, while their homes are being tested, or in the high schools while they're hoping for something better, let's see the United States Senate at work. Let's see what we can do to keep the promises we have made to each other as Americans. And so with that, Madam President, I yield all remaining debate time.